The first time I ever got involved helping on whale research was about 45 years ago. I was asked to bring a whale researcher aboard my sailboat in the ocean of Oregon so that he could observe migrating gray whales up close without any noise from a boat engine. It was then that I began to realize how difficult it is to study large whales in their natural environment. Marine mammals are notoriously difficult to study, particularly with respect to detailed sampling of behavior. They travel over long distances of the oceans. They spend most of their time beneath the water surface. They are not easy to find, and they're hard to follow. Many of the techniques that are used by researchers studying animals are simply not available to marine mammal scientists, owing to the short periods that the animals are observable at the surface, and also due to the lack of visibility when the animals are below the surface for prolonged periods of time. One method of observing whales is to use tags that they carry with them for some period of time and for some distance. The history of marine mammal tagging began with the era of whaling in the Antarctic and sealing in the North Atlantic and in the North Pacific. The Discovery Committee that was established in 1924 undertook a massive program of marking whales in the southern. Radiotelemetric studies of whales and dolphins began during the 1960s with the pioneering work of Shevell and Watkins at Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute and Ken Norris and colleagues at University of California, Santa Cruz. This image illustrates an example of one of the harness-type devices that Ken Norris and others have tried to use with whales to attach a radio transmitter. In the 1980s, Bruce Mate of Oregon State University developed and tested a device for attaching a radio transmitter that had two twin umbrella anchors that were driven into the whale's blubber by two electrically actuated pressure cartridges. To record time in recoverable data loggers, one researcher named Kooiman incorporated simple kitchen timers. This sort of ingenuity is typical in the field of marine telemetry because the field is too small to support much of its own commercial research and development. Instead, biologists have adapted, modified, and refined technologies that were originally developed for other purposes. In the summer of 1987, a pilot whale that was tagged with an Argos satellite monitored radio tag was tracked for 95 days in the western North Atlantic. I participated in this research, doing most of the data analysis. What happened was that 3 young pilot whales were rescued after a massive whale stranding on the northern hook of Cape Cod. And after 6 months of rehabilitation in the New England Aquarium, the 3 young whales that survived were re-released about 120 miles out in the Atlantic Ocean. One of them had been fitted with a satellite tracking device, which was done by a veterinary surgeon. And the data continued to be recorded, they were able to follow the whale's path until it was thought that the battery wore out in the device. And they found that he apparently rejoined a social group of other pilot whales during this time. In the 1990s, Bruce Mate developed some even smaller satellite tags. Here's some examples of a few that were tipped with double-edged blades and folding toggles in order to anchor the cylindrical transmitter housing in the antenna. The attachment of these was usually achieved by using a compound crossbow. To do that, the boat and the crossbow operator had to get within about 10 meters of the whale. More recently, researchers at Oregon State University have developed a sophisticated new type of satellite tag for whales that can record data every second for hours and days and weeks at a time. And it provides a view of whale behavior and biology and travels by the animal that were never before possible. One approach has been to attach VHF radio transmitters with suction cups using a long pole or sometimes fired from a crossbow. Then the researchers try to recover the buoyant packages after they release from the animal by homing in on a radio signal emitted by a tag. This photo illustrates a researcher using a handheld radio antenna aboard a vessel to follow a whale that's been tagged. This picture shows an adult male short-fin pilot whale that's been tagged with a VHF radio transmitter. Marine biologists are only able to glimpse into the lives of marine animals during field expeditions or during laboratory studies. Satellite tagging technology, however, allows researchers to follow an animal's patterns and diving profiles while they're traveling in their natural environment, even over long distances. A California gray whale that was tagged a few years ago with a satellite tag by Oregon State researchers was found to swim all the way across the Pacific Ocean and back to the Pacific Northwest. He swam more than 10,000 miles. Sonar can be used for a number of purposes. In this illustration, Oregon State University's Kelly Benoit Bird is adjusting a sonar device aboard a research ship. Kelly's able to beam pulses of sound into the water, and when those pulses strike something solid, like a dolphin, a fish, a squid, a whale, or a cloud of zooplankton, the sound bounces back to her boat, and on the boat a computer translates the returning signals into an image that consists of bands or smears, or in some cases dots of various colors. There are many applications of citizen science in studying whales and dolphins and other marine mammals. One application that was developed for use with cell phones by researchers at Oregon State University is called the Whale M app. This allows users to log sightings of marine mammals, and people can use their cell phones to record observations of marine mammals, and then their entries are put into a database and sent back to OSU Marine Science Center, where researchers like Courtney Hahn try to. In science, looking at things from a broad overall perspective is known as a molar approach. A reductionistic approach to studying phenomena in science is often referred to as a molecular approach. One example of that is genetic analysis. That's used to study population structures of marine mammals at two different levels. The evolutionary level, which is integral to implementing the Endangered Species Act, and the demographic level, which forms the basis for conservation. This illustration shows a small tag that can be used to obtain a biopsy sample. Sometimes these are shot by a bow and arrow or air rifle device, and they're designed to bounce off the animal and take a small sample of skin tissue that can later be recovered and studied under a microscope and so forth. The Aquasonde is a miniature, self-contained, autonomous, acoustic ultrasonic recorder designed for underwater applications. The Aquasonde incorporates hydrophones as well as depth, altitude, and orientation sensors, digital recording electronics, data storage, and a field-replaceable battery in a single sealed unit. Sail drones are being used to study right whales in Alaska. They can be equipped with Aquasonde sound recording devices. The sail drones are autonomous, and they are typically about 23 feet long. Another useful device for studying whales and other marine mammals is the aquaglider. In some cases, these can be solar powered. They can be equipped with various audio recording instruments, geolocation instruments, various kinds of cameras, and so forth. They can travel at the surface, and in some cases beneath the surface, for long distances. Some of them are designed to be autonomous, so they don't need to be specifically controlled by a live human operator. And they can be very useful in gathering data about whales and other marine mammals. Another interesting way of gathering data about whales is by analyzing their fecal matter, otherwise known scientifically as whale poop. This photograph illustrates the use of a trained research dog aboard a ship, a boat, and the dog is trained to sniff out the whale poop and help the researchers collect it. Once the scent is detected by the dog, the boat is steered into the wind until the sample is located. after which the dog receives a tennis ball reward. Dogs are pretty easy to please. Drones that can fly through the air almost silently are another useful tool in studying whales and other marine mammals. Drones are being used more and more often in recent years. They've become fairly inexpensive and can be operated pretty easily by researchers. Drones are also a very important research tool when studying marine mammals. This picture shows a drone taking a video of an orca family. Many of you have probably seen on National Geographic and other programs on Discovery Channel the application of a video camera known as CritterCam. This is another interesting and useful application. Typically, a CritterCam is attached to a whale or a dolphin for some period of time, and then it's designed to release, float in the water, and then researchers can locate it and pick it up and observe the recorded video material so they can see from the animal's perspective exactly what the animal has been doing and what the animal has been experiencing. A more recent development that is also a form of a CritterCam is known as CatsCam. This is a forward-looking video device that has a variety of sensors, including either HD video or infrared sensors, and again can observe the environment from the perspective of the animal that's carrying it. Another device manufactured by the same company called Customized Animal Tracking Solutions is a tag that can be stuck onto a whale with suction cups and deployed from a small boat using a 20-foot pole with HD video recording and sensors for light, acceleration, pressure, direction, gyroscopic information, and even more. These tags are revolutionizing the world of marine mammal science. Another useful device in studying whales and other marine mammals is the underwater hydrophone that can be placed and anchored beneath the ocean. It remains in a stationary position and can record sounds even over long distances. Another example of an autonomous recording microphone is known as Sound Surveillance System, or SOSUS, that was developed by the U.S. Navy to track potentially enemy submarines that are becoming quieter and quieter. And in recent years, the Navy has made the use of the SOSUS system available to whale researchers, and they've been able to use this system to study vocal emanations from a variety of species of whales. The breaths or exhalations made by whales and dolphins, often referred to as blows, can also be the source of useful information. This illustration shows a device that's designed to capture the vapor contained in the blow of a whale. I've participated in one research years ago in the Baja California, where we were able to capture the exhalations of a number of gray whales, and the materials in the exhalations were later analyzed by a device that can determine the relative health and well-being of the animal by studying the chemicals that are present in their breath. More recently, specialized drones have been used for a similar purpose to gather samples of whale breath, sometimes referred to as whale snot. In this video, a specialized drone known as Snotbot is being prepared for a launch by Dr. Ian Kerr, a whale researcher. In recent years, NOAA has been testing a technology that involves the use of infrared cameras and a computer program to evaluate what the cameras are observing. Every time the camera sees a blow, the computer program predicts when and where the same whale is likely to surface and blow again. That predicted algorithm, which is based on years of research into gray whale diving behavior, allows the computer to track individual whales. For a number of years, as you may have heard, researchers have been taking and saving thousands and thousands of photographs of whales and dolphins, especially their flukes. After receiving photos of the animal's body and studying the fluke patterns, individual whales can be recognized and identified. Nowadays, they're also using software that's similar to facial recognition software to identify individual animals based on pigmentation patterns and other unique marks, such as bite marks and scars that they get on their bodies. Typically, the final match is made by hand from a list of similar whale flukes. A few years ago, a competition was held to see which research team could develop the most accurate whale identification software. The images of the whales were taken by a satellite in outer space, and in the end, the University of Warsaw Institute of Informatics had the most accurate program. They were able to match the photograph to the correct individual whale in more than 90% of the cases. And here in our final illustration for today's talk, a recent group of student interns from the Ocean Mammal Institute are seen using theodolites to study humpback whales here in Maui, Hawaii.